joining our Tech Scene, Scenester TV. We just got done with a fireside chat here in Santa Monica, Silicon Beach, with Brad Feld, who's legendary. He's done everything, venture capital, angel, co-founder of Techstars, one of the top accelerators in the world.
I haven't done everything. I'm not very good at jumping out of planes, and
No?
I don't really like boats very much.
Okay, besides boats, he's pretty much done a lot. So let's start actually with the first question. Being that you did do so much, if you could go back and do it all again, what's maybe one thing you would do different?
I would have traveled a lot more around the world when I was younger. So I traveled for work in the U.S. a lot, and I'm very, very comfortable all over the U.S. But I'm actually very uncomfortable in much of the world other than Europe, because I just didn't travel that much to lots of parts of the world. And I think that especially today with the globalization of business and the amount of entrepreneurship happening everywhere in the world, I think that inhibits me because I'm uncomfortable, I'm a little nervous about it. There's some places I don't really want to go to because it feels too hard at this point in my life. So I think if I was in my early 20s again and was just starting out, I would have put a lot more energy into being in lots of other places around the world that I've been comfortable with.
Can you repeat for people and share again what was the two most important factors of doing a startup community that you mentioned at the fireside chat?
Sure. Well, Patrick, who interviewed me, actually brought out these two thoughts that he got from reading the book Startup Communities. The first is this notion of inclusiveness and the idea that you need to be inclusive of anyone who wants to engage in the startup community. And I think that notion of inclusiveness is incredibly powerful in the context of building out anything that operates on a network model. And I would assert very strongly that startups and startup communities are much more networks than they are hierarchies. So enabling in the culture for people to come and spend time with you, but also you then doing the inverse of it. When you just want to get involved in something, just start. The other concept with this idea of give before you get, or give first, it's this notion that you put energy into something without knowing what you're going to get back. So you enter into relationships without defining them transactionally. So I'll put energy into a startup community without knowing what I'm going to get in return. It's not altruism. I expect to get something back, but I don't know what, in what currency, from whom, over what time period I'm going to get something back. And when I reflect on the development and growth of startup communities like the one in Boulder, or think about the way my world works, I've gotten back so much more by taking a give before you get approach than if I had defined everything transactionally up front.
If you could give just one piece of advice, one golden nugget, what would it be for starting out entrepreneurs?
Try to configure your life so you spend as much time as possible on things you care about. I think as humans, we fall into the trap of doing things to please others. We fall into this trap of doing things because we were told we should do them, or we think society expects us to do them. And the neat thing about being an entrepreneur is you get to define your business and your business reality and your culture. Sure, it's in the context of everything else that's going on, but it's in that context. It's not defined by that context. Sure, you're going to spend time doing stuff you don't want to do. That's part of life. But try to be spending as much time as you can on things you want to. And when you're unhappy, don't fight it. Know that you're unhappy and try to change the environment and change the context rather than either accept that you need to be unhappy or struggle under it. You know, the concept that entrepreneurship is hard, that failure is part of it, is a given. As an entrepreneur, especially a young entrepreneur, you're going to have big high highs and really low lows. Accept that going in. That's part of the journey. And if you fight that emotional range, you'll actually stifle your ability to be successful, your creativity, and frankly, your ability to be satisfied as a human on that journey.
So you mentioned in the fireside chat you're all about inclusiveness, not exclusiveness, for a successful, startup community. So how can people reach you?
Brad@Feld.com is my email. @bfeld is Twitter. I try to respond to all my emails. Just recognize that I get a lot of them, so if you send me an email, be to the point.
500 a day. And his book's on Amazon also. You can read everything there. Thank you so much for this interview. Thank you.